My best friend of 5 years just stabbed me in the back and got with my ex. And she thought I wouldn't find out, but I did. So let's do a story time. Her and I have been best friends off and on. I say off and on because she's always done things that just don't add up. But for these past 2 years, we've been solid. Like, I see her almost every single day, and when we don't see each other, we're always FaceTiming. This just happened, so I'm still freaking out. When I was with my ex, she would always insist on us three hanging out. Like, me and her couldn't hang out alone anymore. She'd always want him to come. And her excuse was, oh, because I want to get to know him and I need to make sure I like who you're with. After the first day that she actually met him, I forgot about this. She went and followed his Instagram, and she didn't even tell me that she was going to follow my boyfriend at the time. Like, she just went ahead and followed him. But why did she only like one picture? A picture of him from 2 years ago. Just of him. So I screenshotted it and sent it to her and just asked her, hey, like, why? Her excuse was, oh my gosh, I was stalking his page late last night to make sure like there was no girls. I was just trying to be a good friend to you, and I must have accidentally liked his selfie. I'm little delusional over here, and I believed her because she was my best friend. Oh, trust me, it's about to get way worse. I would always go to my job at a certain time. Like, my schedule has always been the same since I started there, and my boyfriend at the time would always bring me lunch. He told me he was craving Chipotle and he was gonna bring me Chipotle. He would always show up at the exact time I'd clock out for my lunch, but for some reason that day he was running a little late, and this is where I put pieces together. Him and I would share locations with each other, so I was easily just able to see where he was, but I also shared my locations with my best friend. It was at the same Chipotle that he was going to. So instead of watching his location, I just started watching hers. I saw her location slowly start moving towards my job. So I thought, delusional again, that they're coming to surprise me. Like, he came with her to surprise me. Until I saw her location stop down the street from my job. When my boyfriend showed up without her, I asked him, what were you guys doing together? I know you guys were together. He told me he had no idea what I was talking about and he had not seen her. So he denied it, so I went and asked her. And her story, same thing. I was not with him. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a coincidence. She claimed that she didn't want to be in our drama and she's just going to turn her locations off permanently with me. I'm not even going to talk about him and I, but just know that we split on bad terms. But of course, when we split up, my best friend was so there for me, so supportive, and was telling me how he was trash and I didn't deserve him, and she knew all along. So how did I figure out that they've been secretly like with each other? Her and I had plans for that, and she told me that she had to cancel because her family's beach house was going to be open and no one was Airbnb-ing it. And she said that they were going to go. Normally, when she'd go to her beach house though, I'd always get invited. And this time she insisted that it's just strictly family. So I decided I'll just take myself to Target and have like a self-care pampering night. And when I was at Target, I heard my name being called from somebody behind me. It was her mom and little brother. Then she asked me, wait, why aren't you at the beach house with my best friend? Then I flipped a Uno reverse. Well, why aren't you at the beach house with my best friend? When I tell you guys how bad my stomach dropped, then her mom says, well, I know she's there because the Ring doorbell keeps like sending me notifications. When you get a gut feeling, you just know. So I asked her, pull that up right now. And sure enough, there they were. My heart is like absolutely shattered by both of them, but just mainly because my best friend could do something like that, and I just feel like actually no, that story was from Reddit, and I would definitely invite that girl to Big Hearts Only Club, which is an all-girl group here in Southern California that gets together to make genuine friendships within women. For any girl who's struggling to make genuine friendships or just finds themselves feeling like their friends could be wishy-washy on a dime, that is why I created Big Hearts Only Club, for the girls and the girls only who support one another, encourage, and uplift, and aren't like that girl, and are not like that girl. Big Hearts Only Club on Instagram. I'm gonna go read more Reddit stories.
Things that my exes did and I still stayed, except it progressively gets worse. Anytime I would fall asleep while texting him, I would get like 40 different text messages about how he was insecure and asking if I was out cheating, even though he definitely had my location. So every time I would literally have to apologize for sleeping. During the talking stage, this guy would jokingly talk about how I needed to delete all my Instagram posts. You know the mental like, oh, I saw it, now you can delete it. It was that. Fast forward to when we locked in now. He had my password because I had nothing to hide, but then he proceeded to go and archive all of my Instagram posts. I wasn't even on Instagram like that, so I found out like a week later. He lied and claimed that he never did it. So this guy played basketball, as most of them did. I definitely have a type. After one of his games, he got these two girls' numbers. I saw him talking to them, so I obviously asked. He was like, oh, it's not like that. You didn't hear the conversation. And he told me that I would be seriously stupid if I thought that he would cheat on me. This guy asked me if I was okay with him going out with his girl best friend on Valentine's Day because she was going through a bad breakup and he needed to be there for her. So I obviously told him, like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. He ended up gaslighting me into thinking that I was a bad person for not letting him go. Not only did I end up apologizing, but I let him go. So this is the same guy that said I was stupid if I thought that he would cheat on me. I bought him an Olive Garden gift card for his birthday, and he used that gift card to take another girl on a date. The same guy that archived all of my Instagram posts. But whenever we would go on dates, he would do gross things as a joke. The main thing being pretending to fart whenever like a waiter came, which... One day I just got tired and I asked him to stop because it was gross and it was not funny. Literally did not speak to me for 3 days because I told him to stop. This one guy would send me workout videos on YouTube. Those videos I'd be like, oh, how to grow your boobs in 10 minutes. Not only would he send them to me, but he would FaceTime me while I did them. And I know I let a lot slide, but this last one truly takes the cake. So we're back to basketball / Olive Garden guy. I'm at his house and I peep that there is a hickey on this man's neck. It wasn't for me, so obviously I go pressing him like, what's on your neck? He tells me that he burnt himself with a curling iron. For reference, this man has short type 4 hair. Anyway, that's it everyone. Deuces, deuces, and deuces.
One day my mom grounded me, which means I didn't have my phone, so I didn't have an alarm clock, so I overslept for school the next day. My brother drives me to school, and since I didn't have a phone, I didn't know that there was no school because of a snowstorm. Me and my brothers both being dumbasses don't see that there's no cars in the parking lot, so my brother drops me off and speeds away. I'm knocking on the door for like 20 minutes waiting for them to let me in. Nobody opens the door, bro. I'm like, is there no school today? Boom, it starts to snow, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm wearing ripped jeans with no jacket. I'm like, oh shit, what do we do now? I live like 15 minutes driving from the school. So I'm walking around looking if I can use somebody's phone. I knock on this lady's door. She opens up and I'm like, ma'am, can I please use your phone? I think she had dementia because she started screaming at me. And she's like, no, slams the door in my face. I finally find an angel like 2 streets down. And she's like, oh, of course, princess, come inside. And in my mind, I'm like, I've seen the horror movies. Thank you, ma'am, but I'm just going to stay outside. I call my mom to pick me up. And she's like, pick you up from where? I'm like, I don't know. I've been walking for 2 hours.
Get ready with me while I explain to you guys why you can't trust literally anybody. I feel like I just have really bad luck with friends. Also, before you guys assume this is not a hickey, I burned myself with the beach waiver. Like, I promise it's a burn. Anyway, there's this guy that I was dating. I was dating him for about a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less. I don't really remember. But at that time, I was also really, really close with this one girl. Also, I'm not going to name drop. I wanted to, but I'm not going to because it's really not that deep. To sum up how close we were, if someone couldn't get a hold of me, they called her. If they couldn't get a hold of her, they called me. Because we were always together. Anyways, me and him ended, and then not too much longer later, me and her just, like, fell apart. Like, nothing happened between us, like, no beef, no drama, no nothing. We just really stopped talking for a while. Recently, around the beginning of October, she slid up on one of my stories, and then we kind of just, like, caught up and started talking again. And then the bond that we had before, like, literally came back within an instant because we were so freaking close. And, like, you can't really erase that. Like, we were literal sisters. We talked every single day, hung almost every single day, but let's skip the backstory, the boring stuff, and let's get to the point. She stayed the night the day before New Year's Eve and then was at my house New Year's Eve morning. I had plans that morning, so she ended up going home just for a little bit, and then we planned on meeting back up and getting ready for this party. We were texting all day. We were so excited about the party, and then randomly she's like, oh, sorry, like, I have plans with my family. And I'm like, girl, don't even worry about it. Like, I'll just go out by myself. Family is more important. Like, of course. The party that we were going to go to together was, like, really far, so I didn't want to go without her, so I was trying to find, like, another party to go to. I ended up finding one that was really close, after everyone was posting about it, and literally everyone was there. And I was like, okay, everyone's there. I mean, I'm going by myself, but I know a lot of people. It's fine, whatever, let me just go. Because, like, I didn't want to do nothing on New Year's Eve. So I get there, I found all my people, like, I'm having a really freaking good time, and I want to say at least 45 minutes to an hour goes by, and I'm over here catching up with one of my other friends, and I'm talking about how much I miss my ex, and she goes, girl, he's downstairs with so-and-so. I start laughing. I'm like, no, she's with her family. Like, haha, good try. Thinking it was a literal joke. Like, I literally thought it was a literal joke. I go downstairs and she's sitting like in the corner behind the pool table on his lap in a chair. In that moment, I'm like really freaking confused because I'm like, she just told me that she had a family thing to go to. Like, why did she lie to me? But like, also in that moment, my heart completely shatters because I'm like, I was just talking about how much I miss him, and my best friend is sitting on his lap right now. I wouldn't say like best friend. Like, I don't know what you classify as best friend, but we were getting really, really close again. And if you guys know me and you guys watch my TikToks, before any of you guys ask, no, it's not Haley or Charlie. I just haven't really hung out with either of them. Still love them so much. I see Charlie tomorrow, so y'all will probably see her too. Anyways, back to the story. She made direct eye contact with me and then hurry up and looked away and acted like she didn't even see me. He gets up and he comes over and he's like, yo, nice to see you. Talking to my other friend, talking to the other friend, talking to the dude behind us. And I'm like, he just touched my hand. Like, we're gonna get married again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was like heartbroken in this moment because like, what was that? She walks to the opposite side of the basement and goes up those flight of steps to like avoid us. And I'm talking to him, like having a normal conversation. Like, obviously, like if he's with her, I'm not gonna flirt with him, even though that was my man and my best friend. Whatever, it doesn't even matter. But I'm like talking to him and I'm like, oh, so like you and so? He was like, yeah, we've been together for like 2 months. You didn't know? In my mind, I'm like, that dab up meant nothing. I thought we were gonna get married. He just dabbed me up. We're gonna get married. Nope, it meant nothing. I'm just kidding. Let me stop being delusional. Anyways, back to the story. We had been friends for over 2 months. Like, been close again for over 2 months. And she never once mentioned that she was dating my ex. Yeah. One that she would tell me to leave in the beginning over and over and how he's no good for me. Anyways, fast forward, she didn't talk to me the entire party and then blocked me. Like, I texted her and I was like, hey, that's all I said was, hey, blocked. She blocked me and I'm not gonna go chasing after anybody. Obviously she was no good because what was that? She could stay in 2023. That was so cringy of me to say, but she can stay in 2023 because 2024 she will not be in. It's low-key not that deep because he was my ex, but you are supposed to be my best friend. You're supposed to be my best friend. I feel so embarrassed because I had been like sobbing about him to her. Not sobbing, but like I miss him. Like I want a bad girl. Like we should go on a 2-man and like invite him, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, she's in a relationship with him. Like I look so stupid sitting here crying about him to her when she's dating the man. Or talking to him. I don't know. He just said we have been together for over 2 months. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Ah! Like, why? Why? In my opinion, no matter what, that's a violation of girl code to, like, date your best friend's ex. Yeah. But, like, at the same time, I'm not going to lose my best friend over a boy, so I wouldn't have really cared if she didn't lie to me about it and then blocked me because I texted her, hey. Anyways, guys, that's all. I love you guys. I'll see you later. I just had a rant real quick because... let me tell you, that had me heated.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play.
Get ready with me while I talk about the time that I got caught with a boy in my room at the age of 14 by my dad and stepdad. It all started freshman year when I had this boyfriend, and I posted on my story, swipe up for a TBH and a rape. He had, of course, swiped up on my story, and I gave him his TBH, and it was like a pretty good paragraph, and towards the end I put something along the lines of, I'll sneak you in one day. And I was very, very all talk. I really did not mean what I said, but he thought I was being dead serious, and you know, he never let me forget it. He would always bring it up and would always be like, so are you gonna let me just come in? Like, he was very pushy about it, so I kind of felt forced to, but I never did until the whole COVID thing happened. Let me just explain my situation. I had been living with my mom while doing my online studies through Zoom, and I would visit my dad and stepmom every Thursday and Friday. And one day I was there, and long story short, I snuck him in, and it was successful. Now, let me just say I was never really slick with it because I had done it multiple times, and I thought I was getting really good at it. But let me just say, one time my dad found my window screen on the floor outside, and another time I guess there was a shoe print on my wall and my stepmom had saw it. Now my dad was pretty naive about finding my fucking window screen on the floor because I basically just told him like, oh, it got really hot and like I tried opening the window and it fell. He believed me, so that was that. My stepmom, she never mentioned the shoe print to me, but it did raise her suspicion. Anyway, so she had her suspicions, but again, she never told me anything, so I thought I was being a slick ass bitch. I was not. But anyways, let me just preface that I was pretty good at doing it. You know, not a flex or anything, but I was pretty fucking good at it. I was pretty slick about it. You know, I would always tell him like to come at like 3 a.m. because I knew that everyone would be like dead fucking asleep. But as time slowly started to pass, like Like, I started decreasing the time because I thought I was just so good at being sneaky. Sorry, y'all, I had to change the angle because my knees were on fire. But anyways, I started decreasing the time. Like, I would tell him, like, oh, like, I guess you could come at, like, 1. I guess you could come at 2. Or, like, sometimes I would be, like, 12, which was a stretch because sometimes my dad and stepmom would still be awake. But I didn't really give a fuck because I just thought I was that good. Even though I wasn't, obviously, I wasn't slick enough. But I thought I was because I would turn on the ceiling fan and I would turn on Netflix and kind of just have, like, some type of volume there to mask our voice. Zombie fucking dirty. I know you thought some dirty shit. It was not Netflix and chill. But anyways, go to part 2 for the rest.
Breaking news. The future is here, and it looks bright.
One of my biggest fears unfortunately became a reality. Get ready with me, story time. Over 5 years ago, I actually used to work at a grocery store in my city. At this job, I first started off as a grocery bagger, and then I moved my way up to be a GM, which is a general merchandiser. So I basically restock products, and then I shortly made my way to becoming a clerk, which is another word or term for cashier. I do want to mention when I became a clerk or a cashier, I was working at that job for maybe like a year. I was about to hit like a year. In my opinion, when you work at a grocery store or somewhere where you're helping out customers, kind of start to get a feel of who your regular customers are. It was a weekday and I was working in the afternoon, and this guy came in my line. And again, remember I said I do recognize regulars? Well, I just knew that this guy wasn't a regular. At least I had never seen him. So this older man comes into my line, and in my opinion, he's one of those guys that if I were to see out on the streets, I would probably like turn the other way. Not even like that I'm judging the way he looks. It's just like the way he was like looking at me, like it was an evil look, if that makes sense. Like it was scary. Like me being alone and I see that, I'm running the other way. This man is next in my line. He had one item. He asked me like the most like random question. He's like, hey, do you know where this item is? And I was just like, oh, it's like right behind you. I don't know, it was just like weird. It's like he knew, but he still wanted to ask me. And then the second weird question that he asked me was, what is my name? And if you work at a grocery store, you're always gonna have a name badge. So it was just weird that he asked me for my name. I do understand if you want to get to know me and you are a regular, you're going to become a regular at the store, you kind of just want to have a conversation. But the way he asked me for my name wasn't just like a normal conversation. It was kind of like, oh, I want to investigate you, who are you, one of those type of conversations. Kind of just let it be, and I was like, all right, Ash, just move on, just scan his order and get him out of here. He was the type of like customer where he would just like look at you, scan his order, like he would just like stare you down. And personally, when I go to a grocery store, I don't even like look at the cashier. If I do, I'll like glance at her, but nothing where I'm like staring at her, like creeping her out. Anyway, so that guy leaves, and then later on in the night, I think I was working like a 12 to 9, and I remember this guy came around like 9 o'clock, almost time for like me to clock out. And one of the girls comes up to me and says, hey, like there's this guy, he's looking for you. And I was like, who? Like, do I know who he is? And she was like, I'm not sure, but like he was describing somebody and the only person that fits the description is you. And I was like, that's a little bit weird. Also, I do want to mention that I was in the break room at this time when she told me that this guy was like looking for me. Me being me, I was like, who's this person? I want to go see who it is. But I'm a very observant person. I'm also a very like paranoid person. So I was being sneaky about it. I would kind of just like peek a little bit, or I would go up to like the office and I would kind of try to see from the office out to the store. Sure enough, when I spot this man, I was like, dude, there's no way. This is the guy that I had the weird encounter with earlier in the day. Okay, like that's weird. Why is he asking for me? Like, I'm not getting good vibes off of him. I felt very uncomfortable, and I feel like one of like my biggest fears is always like having a stalker. I feel like that's just any girl's fear, is having a stalker, right? I refused to go back out on the floor, and he ended up leaving. And tell me why the next day he comes back and I'm at the register, and one of the girls comes up to me
And she was like, hey, like, I think that guy is back. I recognize his car. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, that guy who asked about you, he was like, I don't think he's walked in. Have you seen him? And I was like, no, I haven't seen him yet. Why? She's like, okay, I'm gonna switch spots with you. You go hide. And I was like, oh my God, like, there's no way this is my reality right now. So thankfully she let me out of the register. I ended up going in the very back to like the milk box area, and there's also a medicine room. So I literally hid in the medicine room, and I was like, bro, there's like no way that I have a stalker right now. Like, what in the actual fuck? Before my coworker actually let me out, she told me to stay nearby the back phone in case he leaves, that way I can come back out. And I was like, okay, cool. So I remember she ended up calling the phone, and I answered, and she was like, hey, like, this guy's looking for you again. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, like, he's looking for you, and I don't feel like he's looking for you for a good reason. It's like, because it's been an hour and he's still in the store and he still hasn't bought anything. She was like, usually if you're gonna be in the store for this long, you at least have a cart full of groceries. I'm gonna probably have to wait until after closing for this like man to leave, or until I'm able to leave. So to keep my mind busy, I ended up leaving the medicine room and I went to the milk box, which honestly is still in the back, but when it's in this corner and the milk box is on the other side. And so I just started filling up milk because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be back here, let me at least help the closer out. I'm filling the milk up and I just see like a hand right there, like grabbing milk or faking that he's gonna grab a milk. And I was like, bro, there's no way this is my stalker. And so I look, and sure enough, it was him. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I literally left the milk box area and I went back to the medicine cabinet or the medicine room. And I just stood there. I was really hiding in between boxes. I think I even have a Snapchat. I might insert it if I do find it, of me literally hiding in the milk box. I was like, bro, I can't believe this is my reality right now. But at this point, it was already closing time, and we closed the grocery store at 11 o'clock. I was supposed to clock out at 9 o'clock, and tell me why I did not leave the grocery store until almost 12 in the morning. I left that late because this man's car was still in the parking lot. He had one of those car vehicles where, like, you know, when somebody passes away, they have like that certain type of vehicle they put like the casket in and the person in. Yeah, he had one of those. Yeah, when I seen that he had that type of car, I was like, oh hell, I'm not about to walk out, and the last thing I need is for him to know what kind of car I drive. This guy finally leaves, and then I end up leaving as well. As I'm on my way home, I decided that I wanted to go to the gym, and the gym to my job was only like 3 minutes away. It was over the bridge. I walked into the gym and I went to the squat rack, and tell me why I seen my stalker at the gym.